Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Le Mans, or welcome to Apex Online Racing for what is round number 4. Here for what is going to be an entertaining week of, day of racing. Joining me in the commentary box, as per usual, is my man of the season, who is staying with me forever, not leaving, is Milderman. How are you, my friend?
Do I get a trophy for man of the season? But yeah, I'm great, thanks.
Yeah, and a great season so far we've had.
Yeah, it's turned into a truly remarkable season, actually. My tip gather is finally coming on song to make him look stupid in the early races, but he's come on song in the last race, especially with all the disconnects. So a lot of guys with something to prove tonight, and hopefully we have a better connection than last week. And yeah, everyone survives what's bound to be a wet race at some point.
Indeed, order. And that's one of the marks spinning. I don't know who that was, but one mark just spun through. That is the Michelin chicane. I think that might have been Wolf. Yeah, it was Wolf. Good spot. So Wolf struggling. These chicanes are tricky, shall we say. And joining me for a little while is our temporary on-track reporter in the pit. So, pit lane reporter. It is VSR Thomas Ethan. How are you, my friend?
Good, thank you. Just listen to some music, just give me some inspiration before the race. But yeah, I'm feeling pumped, ready.
Now, a circuit like Le Mans, you are one to be a little bit very experienced, shall we say. You said you had a lot of kilometres on this circuit, about 14,000. So, as a driver, what are you going to be looking out for this race?
Just keeping the car on track. You just gotta hook the corners up and make sure the car gets through cleanly. At the start of the race, I was ideally wanting to take this a little bit slower, but due to the change of settings in the game by the coordinators, I can now say it's guns out and pushing to the limit. I'm going to be sending it up the inside whenever I can possible, and I will be getting my elbows out and making my presence felt immediately.
And like you mentioned, it is going to have some rain in this race. So where roughly are we expecting the main issues on the circuit to be?
Puddles don't really form that much, but the main trouble area I would say is definitely Mulsanne corner, the the right-hander after the long Mulsanne straight. Yeah, that is going to be an area where you're going to want to look out for cars to be potentially going off.
Any questions, Milder?
No, I did the practice race yesterday, so yeah, there are a couple dangerous areas. Just Ethan, are you going to try and not get so many penalties this week?
Well, we'll see. It just depends on how much I want to push, but if I've got the pace, which I have through practice, penalties won't matter that much. But I'm not going to get my hopes up yet. I just got to get through turn 1 cleanly, get onto the straight, get the car into the zone, and once it is, just go from there.
Who do you see as your rivals for this race? Obviously, maybe the other Mercs, is it? Or
potentially Gaza, but I haven't seen anybody else setting low 57s, so it depends really on how I settle into the race. But yeah, we'll see. Maybe Gaza may have some power left under his left at his disposal, and he's just kept it quiet for us. But yeah, we'll see.
Cool, enjoy it.
Yeah.
Well, as in they'll come then, there is a Honda on our screen. That I presume is Vectro. But right now, of course, this is only practice, of course, and remember, reversed championship grid order. So Milder, presuming you have the grid order, as it'll come up in a little while, let's go the season.
I have the championship standings, if that's any help to you.
It will be reverse.
It will be the reverse of that, yes. So on pole will be the newcomer who we've seen before at Donington Park, Sean. I mean, he's in the BMW. I'll just bring him up for you so you can see which car he's driving. He's in the M6. There he is, so he'll move to pole position. Next to him will be Big Kid Daddy. And he's obviously in the Merc, I believe, yeah. row behind that is Rob Noxious, and it's Pren. Pren's in the he's in the McLaren, I believe. There he is. And then we have Gunnar Gamble and Camo, Vectro and Schwantz, Skolder Papano, Archill, who's had a up and down season with a 1 win and 2 DNFs, S Clark and near the back, Thomas Ethan, Jan Rosberg, and on the final row at the back is Wolfman and Gaza. Gaza lightning fast in the practice race yesterday with Ethan, so can those boys come through as fast as they did in the practice?
Indeed. Well, on one note to another, we are going to be doing a minute silence just when the cars get off the grid, of course, in memory of CPI Schumacher, who tragically passed away over the last couple of days, of course. So we will be doing a minute silence in a few moments' time. But right now, we're just getting ready for the grid. And this is a race, Milder, of attrition, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's just keeping the car out the wall is half the battle, and that will get you a really good finish, I would say. And then it's picking the tyre changes if we do get rain at the right time. Yeah, it's all about strategy and using your head.
Indeed. Well, we get ready to go on the grid. We'll be back when we come down to after the Mulsanne to give for a minute's silence. And welcome back, everybody, and thank you. But this is going to be, like I said, Milder, a race that it's going to be difficult for everyone, probably but one car, and we all probably know what car's going to be very good, isn't it?
Yeah, on the chat, a lot of people screaming Mercedes OP on this track. I think there are some cars that can take it to them if they get the strategy right. Maybe the Lamborghini, possibly the Porsche, but it's going to be difficult. I can only see 2 or 3 winners. I think maybe Wolfman, Gaza, and Ethan, but we've been surprised before. Like the Honda in the last race, that came out of nowhere. We didn't see that one coming. But I would be really shocked if it wasn't a Mercedes that won this race.
Yeah, it'll be a shocker, but no, I'll never say never, because it is forecast to rain around about that 4 to 5, I was informed. Unless I am mistaken, which I probably am, but it should be between that 4 and 6. So around that window, Milder, or so it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, when the rain comes, it's very hard to judge whether it's hard enough to change tyres, and by the time you realise it is time, you're probably going to end up doing half a lap on slicks that you don't want to be on. Sector 2 is probably going to be the worst for puddles, especially into Mulsanne Corner. I've got a map that I've highlighted with the worst puddles that I found last night, and Mulsanne, big cross in it, that was the hardest corner to get round. It just becomes a lake.
Yeah, especially as well when it will dry out as well. And I've seen what can happen for other races and other leagues, that it does have a tendency to form streaks down that corner, especially because, of course, it does happen, of course, on PS4. Sometimes I think it happens on PC as well. The rain can occasionally have a little bit of a bug where the puddles don't form correctly when drying, and you get these weird streaks going down the track. So let's hope, for all hope, that that doesn't happen.
Yeah, sometimes people don't even see them on their screen, that they don't form actually on the game, so it actually causes big issues because you don't see them and you hit them full speed. But yeah, particularly Mulsanne Corner is going to be one to watch, and the entry to the second chicane on the Mulsanne straight. But Sean's coming around. This will be a baptism of fire for him. He's leading the pack round. I'm sure his heart's beating like hell, but he's been trying to get to AOR for a long time and finally got there with a bit of help from myself and Big Kid Daddy, and his dad's watching apparently, so no pressure at all, Sean. I'm sure you're going to do well.
Well, let's hope, because, well, look behind, he has got 2 Mercedes immediately with him, so I'm presuming Big Kid Daddy's in a very strong position, as long as they don't, you know, have a bit of an accident down towards the first chicane. Now, let's hope that doesn't happen, but I've said that before, and, well, it didn't go well. So I'm going to say it again, let's get ready to go here at Le Mans. What is going to be an exciting race. Get the anthem out, get everything ready, as Cool Vib leads Big Kid Daddy through the chicane, then through the Ford. Everyone nice and close. Let's get ready to rumble here in Le Mans, and we're underway then. A good start immediately from Cool Vib, and immediately the Mercedes is going to try and pounce it down towards turn number 1. Down towards Dunlop chicane then for the first time then. Immediately, Big Kid Daddy leads the pack away then through turn number 1. The Mercedes, lights ablaze. There are McLaren going wide. Have they all got it through and stopped into turn number 1? Yes, no. There goes Papano off in the background. I think that must be, yeah, Papano is spun. I think someone else might have been involved. But even up to P12, Papano will send spinning there. I think you're on the curb. But good stuff from Big Kid Daddy. That Corvette from P2 then from Camo, Gunner, Roberto there, Rob Noxus there, sorry, then Pren, and then comes Skull. There's problems. Someone's in the wall. I think that might be Wolf. Carnage.
It's Archil and Schwantz.
Archil. It's gone wrong, and we feared something like this could happen here at the start of the race, and it's happened already. And that is the last thing. I think Wolf was slightly involved in that. I think he got away with it. But huge trouble for what is your championship leader, Ned, I believe.
No, Gaz is leading, but Gaz, he got caught up in it. Someone's already left the race. I'm not sure who that was. Jan might have got caught up in that as well. I was watching him, but the incident occurred because Schwantz come out of the corner, came a bit right, and Archie was there, and they collided with each other and then got hooked straight into the wall on the inside. So both have major damage and will have to crawl back to the pits. But at the front, Big Kid Daddy still just in front of Cam now. He's moved up to the second place, his teammate. So will they work together and try and get away? Dean hanging on as well. Yeah,
as we come down the straight and already, oh, that's 3 abreast there. That is one of the Hondas there. That must be Vectro. He's made a brilliant start, as well as Scott. They're in 4th and 6th right now, of course, reverse grid, but they're doing well. So there is Scott, and you've got to wonder, he's a bit nervous down these long straights, because we've seen him have contact before. Let's hope it doesn't happen. There's even getting squeezed right out off the circuit there, as they're going to abreast there. Ethan off the road there, and he might get himself, he might have to be a bit troublesome there. He's off the road if I'm not mistaken, but he's nonetheless going to pull the move off, I think. They're down towards Mulsanne. He backs off there as they all go squiggly through the Mulsanne corner. Ethan goes around the outside, he's squeezed wide off the road again. You have to be careful getting back on, of course. The McLaren gives him space, and that's a bit too close. And the McLaren not very quick in a straight line, I might say.
No, and Sean, unfortunately, has dropped like a stone. He's down to 9th place, will be 10th any second because the Lamborghini's up the inside of him. Oh, squeezed him a little bit there, a bit of a flash from Clark. He wasn't too happy about that.
Yeah, 2 cars out.
Yeah, 2 cars out. We lost. Oh, that must be Archill's gone as well then. Oh, that's not good news.
Yeah, and I'm surprised that but that is disappointing as they come through the first couple of corners. Gunner, Big Kid Daddy, they're all in. So it's Mercedes, Honda. Then comes, I believe it might be one of the Mercedes, then the Honda, then Mercedes. So already, it's starting to look like Mercedes coming through.
Yeah, sorry, Dean, I forgot to mention Dean at the start. Dean's very good around this track. I've raced him around here many times, and he is on the prowl. He's up to 2nd place already, and we've lost Schwantz as well. That's disappointing for the Bentley driver, but caught up in that massive accident with Archer on the first lap. I'll have to watch it again to apportion blame, but it just looked like a bit of a coming together. But Cam and Dean and Big Kid Daddy need to work together and pull away before what we think are the heavy hitters, which is Ethan and Gaz come through. Gaz really struggling at the moment though. He's 13th place, not made up any ground.
Yeah, meanwhile, I must say, Ethan just ran around the outside into the Porsche curbs. I just glimpsed it whilst you were doing that. Ran around the outside of Vectro down towards Porsche. So Ethan taking no prisoners at the beginning of this race. This is what he needs to do. He needs to make these positions up early and then go for it. Wolf is in P9, so he's a couple positions back. Valerius and Camo leads this race. Big Kid Daddy now in P3, of course. So he was leading the beginning of this race, so he's been overtaken now by both the cars ahead. Now, I did think we saw that, but maybe we did, maybe we didn't. Behind them, Skull right now doing a good job, though presumably not going to stay there for long in the Honda.
No, the Honda's still in development, let's just say it like that, really. Last week suited it because there's only one big straight, but this one it's just not got the power, and we've already seen 3 Mercedes pulling away, and Dean leads. Yeah,
Garner leads from Cameron then. Cameron's going to try and come back, so that's probably got the slingshot there down through towards Tet Rouge and that area of the circuit. And now around the outside, let's see, Mercedes. Now, which setup, I wonder, has got the highest top speed? And that's going to be interesting. Well, it looks to me like it is Cameron right now. He's pulling away a little bit. That'll be in the toe, of course, the slings or the slide draft. Now back in the slipstream, and we're going to see Gunner, I presume, come straight back at him and then down towards the PlayStation chicane, then up the inside, as you think of it there. Meanwhile, they're looking in the backwards, up the inside. He's braking too late, though. He's going to go through the bollard. Be careful not to hit the other car. And he'll get himself a slowdown for that. Good measure. He might get away with it, though, due to the nature of the straight, but it's so difficult to stop down for there at the high speed. What's 280 kilometers an hour, 290 you're arriving at it. It's about 180 odd miles an hour. Down to what, about 60 miles an hour. It's an incredible drop of speed, and for cars like that, it's difficult to stop.
Yeah, your brakes cool down on these long straights as well. It makes it even harder, and we're heading into the night as well to make it even worse for these drivers. But Ethan making good progress. We're keeping an eye on him if we can. Gaz still not really getting anywhere. I'm really surprised by this. So he's just passed Papano, massive crash. Gaz involved.
Now, that is Papano. That is Clark. Now that, to me, looks like he's got loose. One of them got loose. I think it might have been Clark, who may have got loose a little bit as well. Gaza spun around Papano. I don't know if he hit the wall or not, but very fortunate they didn't end up upside down, because that is the last thing we want. Meanwhile, Camo and Gunner starting a battle again, then down towards the Indianapolis corner. Getting close. Meanwhile, this is going to be interesting. Skull v Ethan, and Ethan's probably hoping Skull get out of the way. Skull isn't going to get out of the way. He's just going to put the car in the middle of the circuit, and this is not what Ethan wants, being stuck behind a slower car. And let's see, down towards the back of the circuit. Skull's not going to stay there for too long, I imagine. Slide on the rear. He's been struggling about that all day long, and he's going to defend and block Ethan as long as he can. Ethan runs himself out of road, and let's hope we don't curse today, but he's doing a good job. He's in P5, and he's making a lot of positions in this race.
Yeah, good tactics from Skull to position the car absolutely perfectly. Just pushed it straight in the middle of the track and said to Ethan, if you want to pass me, you have to go on the grass. So great tactics from Skolden. He's doing it again now. Look, Ethan will be frustrated with this. He's got the power. He should be able to just drive straight past that Honda.
Skold dive back up the inside. Let's see. Skold's there on the brakes. He'll never give it up. They're going to collide, I think. Skold there sideways. He's lost it there on the curb. Somehow, has he kept out the wall? The camera being deceiving. He has. Whoa! Boy. That's a bit close, Scott. I think you might get yourself in a bit of trouble there, Sonny Jim. That was a bit too close from Rob Knox. Has just had to back out of that one. And very fortunate he saw that, because the cars behind, they had about 3-4 cars right behind him. That could have been a bad one.
Yeah, Skull just about realising that was over right at the right time, and Vectro now with a big queue behind him, including the Mercedes, which is going to be depressing for most people, I think. But Rosberg seems to not have any damage. His pace is showing that he's still got enough pace to be attacking the cars in front. So that's good for the race to know that he hasn't got any damage and that he can fight. But Gaz is way back, 18 seconds off. That's going to be a bit of a mission for him, as Sean is spun in the background there.
Now, that BMW, I must say, looking like it's struggling today. And of course, BMW, it's a difficult car to set up, to be fair. I know it's quite popular on the PC side, but seems to be struggling right now. Meanwhile, Gonna Gamble, Cambo, they're battling together right now. It's Gonna leads from Cameron P2. Coming through tech routes now for the 4th time.
It's telling me that Dean's running a lot more wing than Cam, because he seems to be a lot faster in the final sector and the first sector, and he seems to pass every time there. And now Cam will come back at him on this straight and probably get alongside him by the chicane. But we saw Dean is not afraid to brake late last lap round. So let's see how this pans out this time. Let's see. Partner in the pits, by the way.
Yeah, partner in the pit. That'd be for damage, I imagine. Of course, was involved in that contact, squeezing him wide up onto the corner. That's the place to escape. Gets a stop there, and won't be best place. That is Ethan right now in 4th. Now he is probably the best. No, it's starting to rain, Ben.
Oh, that's early. We weren't expecting it this early.
Now it should take about a lap and a half before he starts seeing the trouble. And Papano right now has well and truly been buggered down the back, hasn't he? Because he's going to have to pit again, surely, if he's not pulling into him on immediately, or wet. Oh, the inside, covering! Has he got the car stopped? Yes, he has. And want to be careful, he's starting to get slippery probably down there pretty early. The curbs are going to be very easy to drop him on. But now, Ethan's got a penalty, so we've cursed that one already, haven't we? But, 2 seconds.
It's not a bit,
it's not too bad. 32.
He's collecting them like crashes today. It's not gone well for him, but like you say, he's just come out on slicks and the rain's coming down. So, yeah, he must have walked under a ladder or kicked a black cat or something at some point today, and it's just not working out for him at all. But as you mentioned, Ethan now on the charge, and I think the only person that really can take the fight to him tonight is going to be Dean. I think Dean's got a good car. If he can hold Cam back until the twisty bits, I think he can pull a gap big enough in the twisty bits to hold the lead. But slightly suspect defending, a bit for Verstappen, like very late defending against Cam, and Cam won't appreciate that at all going into the second chicane. Sorry, go back to the leader. I think it was having a look potentially there. I had a little look for a second, looked up the inside, and I feared that could have been a crash, but they just got away with that. That was awfully close again. Ethan right now, he's just going to sit here and keep his nose clean, I imagine. Does not want to end up spinning the car off into the wall or getting collected by another one, because that'd be the last thing he'll ever need right now, is to be collected in a silly crash. And let's see that. He's right behind Big Kid Daddy right now. Big Kid Daddy, a very respected driver. Yeah, and they're heading down to the Porsche curbs, and this is where we'll see if it is wet. I don't think it'll be wet enough yet. Probably another 1 or 2 laps, and then we'll start seeing people maybe gamble on the wets. But the rain is definitely coming a bit earlier than we expected anyway. Let's just put it that way. We'll stick with this because I think Ethan will make a move any second on Big Kid Daddy. Big Kid Daddy's probably in the mood to let him go, to be honest with you, and just fight for the 4th place.
Yeah, I imagine so. A different championship really for those Mercedes drivers right now. But right now, Ethan, the man on a mission, and Scott isn't too far behind. He's only 5 seconds, which, to be fair, isn't too bad. But then again, oh, here we go. So he's gone off the road, so he'll have to get the position up. So Big Kid Daddy should pull over and then Ethan through there, surely, because he won't be able to keep that position. He caught the chicane. that would be an illegal advantage. I think Ethan think about the inside. I think he wants to come through there, and we'll keep with it because Mickey Daddy did just skip the chicane there, and he's covering the inside line, even around the outside. I think maybe that's a bit close. Around the outside, even up the inside for the next bit there, or the under the Dunlop Bridge, down the hill, and I think he's got through. Mickey Daddy will try and fight back, and now he backs off, realises this is not the fight to fight with.
No, and I was right about Dean. He's managed to pull nearly 2 seconds in those sectors that I talked about where you need the aero, and he has pulled 2 seconds clear, and that will keep him out of the slipstream, so he should be fine now on these straights, and Ethan will know that, and he will have to get past Cam as fast as possible and keep up with Dean. I know personally that Ethan's got quite a low aero setup. I won't tell you how I know that, but yeah, he has got a lot less aero, I would say, than Dean, so that would be an interesting battle as the race goes into the night and the wet.
Yeah, he's running a 1 in 3 downforce of the, if I'm not too mistaken there. I do have got his setup, to be fair. He is running very low downforce just to get the drag out, and you don't really need too much downforce at Le Mans just to really do you, because, well, it's 90% straights and about 10% straighty corners. So, nonetheless, high speed, and the McLaren, they're getting absolutely mullered down towards the PlayStation chicane. That is the first chicane, and there has been contact. That's Rosberg.
Yeah.
Now,
Rosberg's got
Vetro
damage.
has also dropped. Now, I'm wondering, has Vetro had contact with Rosberg somewhere? Because Vetro's dropped right down the back.
It's possible, yeah. Let's see if we can see the back end of the Honda. If there's any damage to that. It's difficult to see.
Yeah.
But Gianni, I noticed he had a headlight out on the straight, but Gaz is the one that's starting to move forward again.
Yeah, he's got damage. Vetro's got damage. You could see him pulling.
Even.
So
yeah, there's been an accident, a calamity somewhere.
Yeah, there's been problems, presumably down towards Tech Rouge, I imagine. Now, that could be one possibility. Meanwhile, Mercedes, there goes one Mercedes. That's even down the inside there on Camo. Easy stuff, I reckon, there. So he's got the slingshot down there, but Camo's going to fight back then. And Ethan will be covering the inside line straight away. Camo, remember, these guys are going to be aggressive. Ethan's not going to be used to having other cars so aggressive. He'll back off here, surely, Ethan. Don't fight it. Don't fight it, buddy. There we go. He has to back off there. Forced to as well, because trying that one will end up in presumable death. And right now, in a race like this, Ben, you really want to be cautious not to knock off the front.
Yeah, this is not a time for heroes. This is time for brains, and Dean seems to have the brains at the moment. He's pulling away. He's making the most of these conditions while these guys are fighting, and we're coming up to his sectors now as well, so it'll only enhance his lead, I would have thought. But we'll keep an eye out now to see who's the first one to blink and go onto the wet. So I would imagine it's going to be Jan or whatever the guys with the damage. So yeah, it's getting interesting now.
Well, let's see, down towards the Porsche curbs. Ethan right now fighting his way. Well, finally, Mercedes. Ethan driving around the outside. Then on the brakes, can he do it? Surely not around the outside. He's going to go off the road. He has gone off the road. And, well, we've cursed him again because we said it's time for brains. That wasn't the move he really needed to make there. It was kind of forced himself into it. Meanwhile, Wolf behind. So, small mistake there from Ethan. And that'll cost him.
Yeah, that was impatience from Ethan. He doesn't need to do that. Dean's not that far away at the moment. But yeah, he's got to calm down a little bit. He don't want to be collecting all these penalties like we've seen in the previous races that have cost him 1 or 2 wins. So he's got to learn from his mistakes in the previous races and just move forward with it.
That'd be brave, Wolf. Up the inside, can he do it? Surely that's a really optimistic place to make a dive up the inside. Has he pulled it off? I think he has. Well, fair play, Mr. Wolf there, who's made a sensational move up the inside into the Ford chicane there. You don't often see a car dive up the inside there, do you?
Yeah, well, you got to have a willing partner, and Rob, he's quite an elderly gentleman. He won't thank me for saying that, but he's got brains, and he knows that this is a long race, and if someone's going to send one like that, they're obviously in a bit of a hurry. Wolf, though, still enhancing his reputation, come up from a lower tier. I'm not allowed to say which one.
Tier 4.
But
I'll say it then.
Say it, didn't you? You had to do it.
I had to do it. Tier 4 driver.
4 seconds.
And what I spoke to him a while ago. He said he didn't feel like that was the place he should have been because he really did win quite a lot in Tier 4. He dominated a few of the races, and unfortunately had to pull out due to issues. Now, we're starting to see some spray getting kicked up, I feel, down there, Mulsanne. Or that might just be a little graphical.
Spray is the instant sign that you're on the wrong tyres on this weather system that we've got. This is what I learned from last night anyway. And you can see the car starting to understeer a little bit as well. That's always a clear sign of it as well. So yes, Ethan making a bit of a meal out of getting past Cam and Big Kid Daddy in hot pursuit as well. I do this every week.
Yeah, it's like I did. That's quite a lot a few seasons ago. We had both of them in the season together. And Ethan trying to make positions up right now. He is the sole VSR driver on the field, if I'm not too mistaken. But the only one with the VSR name badged over him. But nonetheless, he's doing a decent job. And if he just doesn't make a mistake or spin or crash, which is something I tend to do to him, curse him. But hopefully that doesn't happen today, and he goes on his merry way to what potentially could be his first victory. Now, we said that last time, it didn't end well, so maybe I should let speak, but you can see, look at the shine down there into Mulsanne. It's really getting a bit wet down there now.
Yeah, Ethan has got the speed, we know that, but he's lacked the patience, let's say, in the last couple of races and thrown away a couple with penalties and time penalties. But Dean doing everything right at the moment. His pace, he's the fastest car on the track, 4 minutes, 0.1 the last time through. Just edging away from Cam whilst this fight just erupts in first B2. I don't think Jan pitted actually, so I think he's just waiting for the rain now.
Yeah, Jan's
which is
staying
here
out.
Now.
Yeah, now is the
It's
time, I
arrived at
think.
Indianapolis. It has arrived.
Yeah, it has arrived. Ethan runs a little bit wide. Now just look out for them struggling. Now, Indianapolis is going to be they've gone through Indianapolis, but it's the Porsche curbs that are going to be a bit difficult, I might say, in these conditions. You can see they're all pulling to the inside, away from the puddles. So you probably know where a few of them are starting to form, and this is where we're going to see, potentially, cars make mistakes. Ethan is one who likes these wet conditions. But he doesn't need to make a mistake. He doesn't need to spin, doesn't need to go wide and make a silly mistake here in these wet conditions. He really, right now, dirty air isn't going to help him either. As you can see, he's going really wide there through the exit Porsche. I think he kept it on the island, though. Yes, he did. So, imagining we're going to see the leader in the pit lane and second and third very close together. Now, is the leader coming in? Let's see. It'd be very optimistic if he stayed out. No, so they're all going to come in then. And Cameron's going to die. Oh, no, they're staying out. Now, why would they do that?
It's time. I think it's time to pit. And, yeah, I think these two are going to regret this.
Scold as well.
They're too embroiled with their battle, and they're not actually concentrating on the conditions. As Ethan takes the lead, he's got his wipers on. That should tell him everything. I could be wrong, but I believe it's the right time.
Scold also staying out then. So, well, the Honda, to be fair, it's very good in these wet conditions. It can stay a lot longer on the wet. Scold is a driver that is very experienced in the wet. Wolf also staying out on the wet. Now, do they know something that we don't know? That everyone else is in the pit lane, Ben. They're all in, apart from the top four. And the top four all have penalties as well, ironically.
Well, if they get this right, I'm going to ask them for the lottery numbers on the weekend, because they've got more brains than myself. But to me, the weather at Indianapolis said its own story. The rain was really intense there. I was watching out for it, and I saw a bit of spray off a few cars. But these guys seem to be coping at the moment. It's when they get into Sector 2 that tends to be the worst one. So let's see how they go then. But half the field have pitted for the wet tyres.
Now look, you can just start to see the shine on the left. Even had a puddle. That was a puddle he hit. And you can see in the weave suddenly there, I think he must have touched the puddle out, or he's warming his tyres up. That was a very big move. I don't know if he got a puddle there, would you say that? But that looked a bit odd.
Yeah, looking at the rain, it's really getting intense now. And we'll go on board with Cam there.
Yeah, look, you can see it.
Fancying this. Yeah, he's fancying this, Cam. He's closing up. Let's see, yeah, we can see the formation of puddles and spray on the back tyres of Ethan.
This isn't good.
He's on the wrong tyres.
This is really not a good sign. You can see, look at him, he's weaving down the straight, he's got no grip. The rain is falling. Is this potentially a bad choice, because look, we'll keep an eye on the gap behind. Ethan's
There you
off,
go.
he's lost it. They both
both
lost
lost.
it. Spin, 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 spin. They come. Is Skull going to make the corner? Is Skull going to go off? Ethan, whoa, 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 whoa. That's a bit close. Skull leads here in the Mon as the two Mercedes come to blows in the synchronized. Wolf's also gone. The Mercedes, and he's taken a ball. That's damage as well. And it's starting to absolutely chuck it down here at Le Mans. And this is the last thing these guys wanted. They're on dry tyres on a wet track, and they're not going to be able to stop. What's out, Skull? What's out, Cam? You're not going to be able to stop here. You're not going to be able to stop. They're all going to go off. Skull's just going to make the corner. He has just made the corner. What about the Mercedes? Are they going to make it? Ethan's dropped it again. And the rain really starting to heckle the circuit. Look behind. They've dropped over 10 seconds already now. Over 15 to Gunner already. And this has simply been the last thing these guys wanted.
Well, we called it. We thought it was the right time. The rain at Indianapolis a lap ago told the story. I would have been straight in there like Dean did. Dean's got it absolutely right. He'll have probably about a mile sideways from Scold. Called it. Brilliant reactions. But yeah, called it right. It looked the right time, and Dean's going to have a massive lead.
Yeah, he's going to lead by at least 20 seconds, I'm imagining. Scoldlow, to be fair, he's now leading, and in the wet, you got to wonder that Honda. You got to have to say the Honda's going to be pretty decent in the wet.
Well, we saw Scold's skills last week in the rain when he was hassling the race leader for a long time, but he did wear out the tyres very quickly. Pretty impossible to do that at this track because of all the straights, but Cam's actually quite impressing me. He's looked good as soon as it turned wet. He's looked a lot more at ease than some of the other guys, and he's on slicks.
Now, and I'm wondering, where's Ethan? He's dropped really far down. He's got no grip. It's just drier in this section.
Ooh.
Ethan got a bit on the curb there. And you want to be doing that up front. You can just hear the roar of the Honda just up the road there. A beautiful sound of the engine. And it doesn't look for some cameras that wet, but when we come to this one, which is facing towards the rain, it is absolutely chucking it down, and Skull definitely is coming in the pit lane, as well as second, as well as third, because look behind, they've got already, that was 45 seconds, now it's what, 30 seconds, so they've lost a heap of time, and luckily, they didn't all end up with mass damage, although Wolf has got some, presumably, for hitting that bollard.
Yeah, well, like I say, it's a lap short, and Dean with his extra air as well. He'd probably be faster in the rain anyway. So, yeah, they gambled, and it just didn't look the right call, to be honest with you. And then when half the field followed Dean in, that's kind of backed up my argument. Sector 1 was fine, and Sector 2 is, as of yesterday in the practice race, like I learnt, that's the one that fills up with water very quickly. So, caught them out. Okay, they survived. At least they didn't get massive damage. Live to fight another day, but advantage Dean definitely now.
Now he's going to come out. I'm wondering how much it should be. They can hear they're all coming out now. It should be about 10 seconds. And Scold is going to lead this group right now. That is not what... Well, he is a bit floating right now as well. So, there we go. Now he's back down. So, they decided to let the levitation go as they're all come out now. But Scold now leads this little group then from Camo, Ethan and Wolf. So Scold's done what he needs to do right now. And now he just has to be careful. Look back. Big Kid Daddy's going to get a mega run here. And these guys, remember, they're going to be slow. They're going to be on cold tyres. So they're going to have to presumably give way potentially. If they're a bit too close. So Big Kid Daddy right now, he's got in 5th position. So he's doing a good job. But to be fair, Dylan... Oh, Wolf, as must say, we'll call him Dylan because that is his name. He does like using that. Is in 6th position. He's doing a fantastic job right now.
Well, I might have noticed a mistake from Dean here, actually. Yeah, I have. Dean didn't put any fuel in when he pitted. The others put in enough fuel to get to the end. So Dean will probably have to gamble on the dry tyres at the end. We know it's a bit of a crossover whether to stay on wets or stay on dries. But Dean will probably have to put the slicks on, and he's going to have to put some fuel in as well. So this race isn't over despite his 11-second lead, and it's probably not over anyway because we know, like you said, Scold is very good in these wet conditions. So is that a mistake from Dean? I don't know. He had the time to do it. But,
well,
we'll see.
I mean, well, Wolf's going to try and challenge Big Kid Daddy time.
Ethan off the road.
Yeah, he's struggling. Bollard damage as well for Big Kid Daddy there. Ethan struggling right now with grip, I'm wondering. The puddles... Now, we've seen it before. They will change from session to session, so I'm wondering if the puddles are a little more difficult today than they were at, say, the practice race yesterday. But here comes Big Kid Daddy back on the outside there of Wolf. And you can really see the puddles starting to form now down the Mulsanne and down towards the Michelin chicane. Laying on the brakes as he got the position through. That's a bit close there. So I don't collide. That's just beautiful stuff. Beautiful tactical driving from the pair of them. Big Kid Daddy low under pressure. Wolf's going to have the sling back up the inside as they go over what is going to be the puddles there. You can start to see them form now. Careful down this straight. Big Kid Daddy's got a massive amount of speed though. He's getting a distant toe off of Ethan. And we should see up the inside, Wolf will probably get the position. Maybe if he's brave enough on the brakes, he should have the inside line. Ethan's struggling there a little bit. Wolf up the inside into Mulsanne. Big Kid Daddy trying to cover him off. Loses the rear though on the curb a little bit. And Wolf through.
And here's Gaz attacking Clark, and he's got it done before the corner. Will he pull it up in time? This is a dangerous corner. You'll see it later. It'll really turn into basically like a swimming pool. Dean with a 10-second lead. Scold's taking a little bit back already, actually, so we need to keep an eye on that. And this fight in front still not quite over yet.
Indeed. Well, I mean, what down the back? We have Vetcher. He's struggling a little bit right now in the other Honda.
Yeah, car looks like it's been whacked on the side, so that's what you called earlier with Jan. Let's see if Jan has fixed his car. Let's just see. It probably still looks like it's been in a war. He has fixed it because the lights are working.
That's important because it is going to get darker in this race, and you want lights in the dark, I imagine, because without lights it would be a bit, well, dark. And I don't fancy driving at night time with no lights. I do know, I remember in the mod, I think someone had one of the Toyotas had a light issue, and it was a bit scary.
Yeah, the car still looks like it's been punched in the face on the right-hand side, so... but yeah, at least it's at fully working order. That's the main thing, and the Porsche we know loves these conditions, so let's see if Rosberg can make some spaces up. That'll make more sense than what I just said. This first victim looks like it's going to be Pren in the underperforming McLaren, so let's see if we can get that. Yeah,
the McLaren, a struggling car this season. I must say, though, also to Scald right now, and it was just asked in the chat, he is the best driver right now on the pad. He is really showing how skilled he is, and he is catching the leader ever so slightly, to be fair. He was up to 15 seconds, now it's down to about 11, so the leader getting caught a little bit right now by the Honda.
Yeah, well, like I say, from last week in Barcelona, where, yeah, he took it to Gaz. Gaz had a quite nice lead, and as soon as it rained, he managed to catch Gaz and pass him around the outside several times, but the power of the Mercedes kept Gaz in control, and then when Scold's tyres went off, Gaz was able to dominate the rest of the race in the final stages. But obviously we'll keep that in mind, but it's probably the problem with Scold in this race is that the Honda is down on power as Rosberg passes Pren.
Yeah, up the inside, same place Wolf did earlier on another car, so proving that the Ford chicane quite a popular place to overtake, it seems, in this race. It's a easy corner to do so. Ethan runs a bit wide there. Now, you do get away with running wide there 9 out of 10 times, don't you? Because the penalty sometimes goes away, but sometimes it doesn't. You can see Ethan, he's lifted off there. He's forced to there. He doesn't want to get the penalty. And
yeah,
let's have a look at
more penalties.
If we can. Let's have a look at the penalties and see. So 1, 2, 50. Oh, well, we've really gone and done it this time, haven't we?
It just doesn't seem to learn. It is really frustrating, just to watch even. It must be frustrating for himself, but he must have sped in the pit lane. That's the only way I can imagine he's got up to 15 seconds, but this is like 4 races in a row now.
Papano,
he ain't going to beat Papano.
Yeah.
Papano's got the record.
Though, saying that, Scold, I remember once, did get a 52-second penalty, which is a bit big. So, never say never, especially if you go off the last corner on the last lap. That really does hurt you.
Yeah, well, there's still time for Papano to beat that. But here is our leader, and he is actually edging away. So Dean's got comfortable in these conditions. We know he's running more aero. We saw that in the early stages. So Dean in control at the moment, but it's far from over. He's taking a wide line into that corner. That's quite clever because the water does sit just on the racing line.
Yeah,
so at the moment he looks fully in control at the moment.
Yeah, the karting line, of course. The more the take a wide entrance, of course, miss all the puddles, then turn in. That's not what Skull's done. He's taken the alt version, the I'm going to map the curb and not spin version, which fortunately he hasn't done. Meanwhile, in the Mercedes train, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. That is Camo, Ethan, Wolf, and Big Kid Daddy all together. Right now, Ethan and Skull relatively even on pace right now in this race. Ethan, of course, making those critical small mistakes, which, to be fair, most likely been speeding in the pillar, like you mentioned. But you've got to wonder, if he wants to be a champion, he needs to iron these small niggles out.
Yeah, it's just like I said, it's really frustrating even for us commentators watching it, because you just want him to be in the battle and have a good fight, and he just deserves a win, really. It's just so frustrating. But let's do a bit of a race rundown, see where everyone is. Dean's obviously got a 13-second lead now, so he is pulling away from Scold in the Honda, doing another fabulous job. Cam is fighting Ethan. Actually, we probably want to stay with this because they're now side by side.
Side by side down the straight as Camo on the grass there slightly. I think Ethan might just have the pace, but let's see. Ethan's been in a situation right now he doesn't want to be in. He tries to force Camo to go and back out. Camo's going to back out in the end then, so he's subdued to Ethan's force then. So Ethan rather using his pure strength right now and gets through up into what is now third position in this race. Just over an hour and a bit. We're on that 9 of 22. That's 13 and a bit laps to go. Coming up about 11 or 12, counting when they come round the corner now. That's 12 and a bit laps to go here in Le Mans. And we're on that 9. And so far, Gunner, Scold, Ethan, Camo, Wolf is in 5th. Behind the Big Kid Daddy and Gaza, and it's doing well for those guys. Behind them, we've got Clark is in 8th in the Lamborghini. Rob in P9. Rosberg in P10. He's really not having the best of days right now, is he?
No. Well, shout out to Rob, actually. Rob's had a really horrible start to the season. Not really had any decent results or pace. Barcelona lucked into an 8th place, I think, last time out because there was 8 runners. But he's actually driving really, really well tonight. So just shout out there to Rob for doing so well. Jan is just starting to edge back into the points. Still not over for him. Let's just see his lap time actually this time through. It'll be interesting. Perenna, he passed a lap ago, he's put 7 seconds into, so it's quite impressive pace. Vectro in 12th, Papano in what's left of his Ferrari in 13th, and then the newcomer Sean, not a lot of testing, not a lot of time, so we expect this from him really. He's just learning in the fearsome BMW M6, which is probably a handful to drive in these conditions with barely a setup, so yeah, I'm sure he's learning with every lap so far.
Now he's learning bit by bit. Meanwhile, like Wolf is doing what he needs to do right now. He's had a relatively good season. He's kept himself out of trouble. He fought valiantly, I believe, last time out to what was a very decent result. And right now, closing up as off goes Big Kid Daddy. That was that Camo. My apologies, Camo off. And the Wolf should easily be able to pass him here.
Yeah, Wolf's been quietly going about his business, actually, just letting everyone else make mistakes, and he's slowly but moving up the field as people make mistakes, and he's just edging up to everyone. He's past Big Kid Daddy. Now he's going to make a move on Cam, I would have thought, into the chicane. This chicane as well is pretty treacherous when the rain really sets in. So there's about 3 or 4 puddles before the braking zone, so I think that's probably what was on Wolf's mind there, and he just backed out of it to play it safe. But then he's heading to the worst corner, which is the Mulsanne corner, which is at the end of this straight. But yeah, impressive again from Wolf. Probably the driver of the season at the moment, I would say. No one really expected these sort of performances from him. And yeah, let's see where he's going to make his move on Cam. Pretty much the only battle on the track at the moment.
Yeah, potential battle going on further down the field between Vector and Papano. That's another battle we'll keep an eye on later on. Well, there's the position he's going to get through then. So earlier than we expected, as Camo, he got on the curb, got on the wet stuff and went off. Meanwhile, here's that battle between, that is Vector, Papano and Cool Vip, I might say. I keep calling him Coolfart. It is Cool Vip. He's Coolfart to me, but he's doing good right now. In terms of the constructors, it is Viscera, if I'm not mistaken, leading.
Yeah, it is. They're leading the championship at the moment. It's quite difficult to know who's actually in the teams at the moment because most of them are named after the drivers. But there's Visceral Racing 46 points ahead of Gaza Racing, so I'm guessing it's just Gaz. Pad or Alive will be the Honda guys. Rosberg Racing in 4th. Moving on up, or moving down to 5th. AET Motorsport 6th. Rev Rascals are 7th and 8th. I'm sure that's cheating. Papano Motorsport in 9th. Just Papano. This is Tasmo Eric SST.
Yeah, that's
Sounds
Archie.
Sounds like you probably get cream for that, but Schwantz Racing in 11th place.
Yeah, of course, though. Remember, a few drivers in this race, that's a bit of a mistake there from Vector, and a few drivers in this race have to really score the points in these reverse races, because it's really their only opportunity to get really good points, and it's rather unfortunate for them that they can't really get the points they want.
Yeah, if you've got your steady drivers, then this is right up your street because you can be consistent and not necessarily be the fastest. I mean, maybe Dean's not quite the fastest on the track right now, but he's been consistent and hasn't made mistakes. Took the lead and defended at the right times, and now he's 12 seconds in front after pitting at the right time. So, like we called it at the start, it's tactics and bravery that have done this, and using your head.
Indeed, being careful, being positioning your car well up. Right now, fair play to Scald. He is probably, without doubt right now, unless it's a long way to go. We're just, halfway into this race about now. Half of the race still to go. And he is only got one car ahead of him, and that's the Mercedes. The rest of the Mercedes are behind him. And that, to me, is very surprising, though he has just gone off the road on cue, as per usual. So I'd almost hit the wall as well. Scold, don't let me curse you, my friend, but you are doing a good job.
Yeah, like I say, he did this last week. A lot of love for Scold actually in the chat I'm reading, so people in disbelief that he's actually on a pad, but he drives so well it's difficult to tell. But like I say, we all doubt the Honda, but again it's coming through and shining in this race. Against all odds, against all of the Mercedes, it's the Honda that's fighting them. So shout out to Scold, it's really, really impressive drive.
Yeah, he's doing a good job right now. He's really showing his teammate up, really, this season, who's having a torrid time in the Honda, I feel. Near Vector, of course, he's 14th, and last, of course, 2 retirements. That is Archio and Squalt in the Bentley, both involved in that first lap melee down towards Tap Rouge. And to be honest, to those two, it's a bit poor for them, might say, of course. I don't know how much damage it is for them to leave on a race that is that long.
Yeah, that is a bit stupid, but especially for Archer, he needs every point he can get. He's had 2 DNFs and a win. We see him as a championship contender, but at the moment, he's nowhere near the lead of the championship, and every week seems to be a bad week, and maybe he's not dreading, but disappointed with his decision to go in the Z4, because on a track like this, you are a sitting duck with a car like that. And again, he'll have the same problem at Bathurst when we eventually reach that. So, yeah, it's difficult because we see him as the fastest guy on the grid at the moment. I know a lot of people do in the chat. I've seen that before. Chris Jones in the chat actually saying, "Come on, Gunner." So, Dean's got a fan.
Yeah, Dean has a fan, and right now he is leading this race by 14 seconds, 6 seconds between Scold and Ethan right now, as Rosberg got on that curb a little bit. He doesn't want to do that because, as we've seen, that curb is deadly. As we saw earlier on when some people decided to do a challenge dry tyres on a wet track. It didn't end very well. Spoiler alert. Luckily, none of them got major damage, which is the fortunate thing. But right now, Scold from Ethan, from Wolf, from Cameron, from Big Kid Daddy right now, he's dropped back a little bit. There's a 10-second gap to Gaza right now. We're looking at Pren in the McLaren right now. He's in middle of no man's land. Well, Papano has really pulled away, I must say, from Corvip and Vectro. As also the Ferrari. It's a quick car. It's good in its conditions. It's a rather, it was a very overrated car. It's a very OP car. Now it's a bit not OP. It's probably one of the slower cars.
It's like a middle P now, and it's kind of been dragged back into the pack, but not the fastest in a straight line. Noticed that last night especially. But yeah, Papano is he's kind of lost, again he's had an accident again. and it's kind of messed his race up again, and he's had to go in the pits. So he's kind of fighting for nothing really at the moment, other than a few points at the end. And again, not too far back from Pren and Rob. Rob's sort of losing a bit of pace at the moment, but the fastest guy on the track at the moment is Wolf, and he is marching towards Ethan actually, and Ethan's just there. Look.
Yeah, now this could be interesting.
Team drivers.
Now, these two had a bit of a interesting discussion a few days ago about with what happened if they get too close together, and this could be very interesting. Now, Wolf's got the pace right now, and he's been going through a lot, and we do like saying it, but we all cheer for drivers, of course, and so give them the support. And right now, Wolf is one of those drivers who is very much, he's one of the best people I've met. He's a brilliant driver as well, and I spoke to him, and he's a very emotional person as well. He loves driving. He's a karter as well, and as a driver on this game, Ethan's made a mistake there. The driving in real life, it does help you, I'd say, on this game, wouldn't it?
Yeah, of course it does. I mean, you only have to ask people like Max Verstappen and Lando Norris. They regularly use simulators to enhance their performance, so they say. But yeah, Wolf's the man of the race again, really, in this, other than Dean. He's slowly but surely moving on up, and I think he could end up in second place. With the pace that he's showing right now, he's nearly 2 seconds faster than the leader and Scold, so, and 4 tenths faster than Ethan on that last lap, and the rest are pretty much nowhere on pace other than Gaz. But Gaz will be ruining the first lap when he had to basically stop to avoid the crash between half the field. So yeah, it's shaping up to a big battle for second place, I think.
Meanwhile, 11th in the pit lane. Now, I'm wondering, is that... Oh, dear.
Oh.
You up? That's your answer. Yes, is the answer. That is for damage. That's been in the wall, presumably, at Porsche curbs.
I would have said so, yeah. Yeah, poor Pren. He was doing really well, actually, and the McLaren's not the easiest car. It's not really the fastest. It's a straight line. It's not the easiest to turn in and get around corners, but at least his headlights are fixed. One thing I've got to remember is to keep an eye on Dean's fuel. So 39. He's got 39 left, 79 for Skull, so he'll get to the end easily. Ethan on 72, and Wolf's moving in very quickly now.
68.
He's on 68. So
easily
Dean,
to the end.
Yeah, so how much time will Dean lose, do you think? Pitting and changing tyres and fuel.
Wow. He's put 30 more litres in the tank he really needs. If that, I mean, how much is he on? We're at 68 for Scott, for Wolf, and leader is on about, what, 30 odds? So, 38, so, and he's about 30 litres short, so if he can stretch it and get away with it, he should make it to the end. If he puts probably about another 20 litres in the tank, maybe he might just make it to the end. It'll be interesting, though. Well, we don't know in terms of how much fuel the Mercedes uses each lap, but you've got to wonder, this could be problems.
Scold could win, because if Scold stays on the wet, gets to the end, and Dean has to change his tyres, that will cost him 16 seconds, plus putting the fuel in, so he's going to lose around about 30 seconds, I would say. So that'll put him out in 5th or 6th.
And now, never say never, of course, but if one of those top 3 drivers, of course, that isn't Gunnar, because we know he is potentially in issues. But remember, though, if it does dry out, Gunnar is going to be on a very good strategy, because everyone's going to have to come in anyway. So, he's gambling. Gonna gamble. He's gambling completely on it drying out, I wonder.
Yeah, he's going to have to hope so. It's really dark now as well, so I've noticed the Mulsanne corner is absolutely drenched now. It's actually really scary, and these guys are actually heading down to it now, so this will be interesting to see. Yeah. Papano's got damage on the rear, so maybe him and Pren came together.
And that is Vectro, if I'm not mistaken, coming to lap Pren. Is that Pren just ahead there in the McLaren, or is that Papano? I can't see who that is exactly. Yes, Papano. Yeah, my apologies. Ahead of them there is Corvip, who's had a mistake somewhere because he's dropped a lot of time. Meanwhile, second and third are getting close together. They're about 3 and a bit seconds right now. 2 seconds back to Ethan. So the pace. So last lap, Wolf must have made a mistake because he's dropped 2 seconds there.
He gained 3 tenths on the last lap, so he's still moving in slowly, but I think Ethan's just responded, so it's just taking Wolf a little bit longer to get there. But these two head and shoulders are easily the fastest guys on the track, so this race is far from over as the top 4 start to come together. Let's hopefully not mean it like that, but actually get together on the track instead of coming together. We've seen enough of that already. Cam though just not able to stick with the pace, which is quite surprising. And Big Kid Daddy in a massive fight with Gaz. Gaz has made the time up like we saw, and Gaz takes the position into 6th place. I'm sure that's not the end of it. But he can catch Cam. He's 3 seconds a lap faster, so Gaz could get something out of this in the end after all.
Indeed. Well, let's see. Gaza now in P6, coming this car ahead. Meanwhile, Vectro has got past Papano now, and is no, he hasn't. He's behind Papano. There's many P's on my screen there. He's ahead of Pren, but behind Papano. And the Honda, which I was talking to Vectro, he said it looks like an Audi when you knock off the front of the car, at the rear of the car. It looks like an Audi. So I'm wondering right now if you fancy driving that Audi, because I think the Audi probably been doing quite well here.
Yeah, Audi would have been okay in sector probably 2 and 3, but on the first sector the Audi's probably one of the slowest cars on the straight. But the Honda just doesn't turn. But I mean, look at Scold. We can't really slate it too much. Scold with a penalty, actually. We'd better check those and just make sure that they're not too horrific. No, that's not too bad.
Even with 15 moments, so remember, wherever he finishes, add 15 seconds to it, and we're on that 13 of 22. That means about 9 and a bit laps to go here in Le Mans for what is a fantastic race of attrition, a fantastic race of getting dark, and that is lag for Papano, and that is not something we want to see, and that is Cool Vip. That is Cool Vip they're catching up to now, so the BMW, which is starting to struggle now. I'm wondering, when are we expecting it to go dry then? It should be around about lap, what, 15, 16?
Yeah, something around that, I would predict. So, again, Dean's going to be cursing the fact he didn't take fuel on, because he could have just stayed on the wets probably. But wow, slight difference in power there.
Yeah,
absolutely. As Papano destroys the BMW.
Mugged. That is a mugging and a half. Well, we saw. I think we saw down the main straight on the first couple of laps how slow that BMW was. I wasn't expecting to be that slow. Is it running an issue or damage or something? What speed is it doing?
175, so that suggests that Papano's damage isn't as bad as it looks, because it looks pretty bad. But the BMW just not quite got the bite out of the corners and the speed, but we know that Sean really was quite a late call up to this race, so we can't really judge him on this race at all. No. We know he's fast at Donington.
You did say he was slow out of the corners, etc., but he had a brilliant exit there. He is right with him, so that's it. Is he going to try and fight back then down to the straight? He's not got no speed in the car. He's in about 270 kilometers an hour. Compare that, by the way, to the Mercedes. It was hitting about 280, 290 kilometers an hour, give or take sometimes, in a tow. That's how quick it is. About a 20 kilometer an hour difference. And right now, you can see Cool Vip struggling on the grip. Behind him, of course, Vectro in the Honda. And he's also struggling as well compared to his team right now. He's cutting to him, by the way, still in P2. There he's the leader, going a bit wide from the last corner. There is second. And behind them, the car behind it doesn't look as wet, to be honest, on this camera, does it? It looks like it's drying up or stopped to rain a little bit.
It's getting a little bit lighter and a little bit drier, but yeah, now Scold under big attack from Ethan and Wolf. They both closed in like we predicted, and the lap times for the front two are pretty horrific at the moment. They're 2 or 3 seconds slower than these two. So as the track dries out, like you pointed out, the guys with the less downforce are starting to come back into the race, and Gaz as well, also flying along, lapping faster than the leader. But I just think Dean might have made the wrong call by not putting fuel in. I really hope I'm wrong, because he's done everything right and he deserves the victory.
Well, it's 3 litres a lap, so give or take, I think. So it's interesting. Scott Bonner is running over 10 litres more than Ethan right now, so this will explain why he's going to be slower. Ethan's put himself on the grass there. That's another small mistake for him there he doesn't need to make. He's getting a bit flustered, I reckon, behind the Honda, but he'll try and come through. It should be a rather easy move, but never say never. That Honda's still quite quick in a straight line.
He's just trying to get out the slipstream. He's like, you go over this way, I'm going to go over that way, and then we'll have a drag race and see how we get on. But Honda actually holding up pretty well there. I'm quite surprised by that.
It's a surprise. A deviously quick car. It's one of the quickest in a straight line. which is when you got the setup, of course, and Skuld can somehow get a bit more speed out than his teammate right now. He's gone off, though, and, well, that's a bit too much speed than he has in that car, and he'll get a slowdown pattern, so I imagine Ethan will probably want to be trying to make a pot down the inside if he can, but he's too far back. Even the toe low, you should be able to see, he should be able to hit about 280 plus kilometers an hour down towards the second chicane. Let's see then, 250, 260, up to 270 kilometers an hour, so not as quick as then it just starts pulling down the back of it. 280 plus there. 284 kilometers an hour. He closes right up in the toe and goes off the road as well. So he takes the old version as well. So stopping in the dirty air is proving an issue.
Yeah, I wonder if Ethan's got a little bit of damage from, you know, when he had the little spin there and hit the cones and stuff. I wonder if he's got like maybe 2 aero damage, because he really should be just walking past that Honda down the straight.
Yeah, because the Honda low. Fair play to it in the wet. It's a bit more even out in the straight line speed due to the longer straights as well. And the wet conditions, it's hard to get the power on. So, oh, Scott's made a mistake. Has he got the car turned in? Yes, he has. No, he hasn't. Now he'll cover off, he'll force Ethan as he got past already. So he did make a mistake there then. So Ethan straight through, and Skuld will not be best placed. But then again, Ethan has a 15-second time bonus. So as long as Skuld can, you know, stay with him, then it's looking good for him with, what, 7-8 laps to go.
Yeah, what you can't see out of that Mulsanne corner is there's about 4 or 5 rivers that run across the track as well, and it stops you from putting the power on the road. So what that says to me is Ethan probably isn't running traction control, and he's not. And he was just able to modulate the power a bit better and get the traction out of the corner and come over the puddles a lot easier than Skuld. Skuld hasn't got traction control either, but it just looked like a better exit from Ethan, like you said. And yeah, there's like 4 or 5 rivers that run across that track that we're not picking up on the camera that really do affect your acceleration out of that corner.
Yeah, of course, I've seen the how wet it can be, especially in the daytime. I've done a few 24-hour races around here, of course, commentating, and sometimes you can really see in the lighter conditions how wet it can be, especially when it rains heavier than this. It gets really bad when it starts drying, so they're fortunate in this sense that it really isn't that bad. Meanwhile, Wolf is catching these guys as well, so Wolf has been a constant threat and a constant thing Ethan's got to look out for as well.
Yeah, and the Honda working really well for this last sector. He's coming back at Ethan actually until he did that.
Yeah, Wolf did it as well,
yeah,
so
Wolf
now he's slowed down.
Just creeping up on him. He is like a wolf, isn't he? He just creeps up on people, attacks them and passes them without them even knowing he's there.
Yep, the lone wanderer, you might say, the lone wolf. And, well, he is the only wolf right now in this tier, of course. Remember, the PC also has their own wolf. This one, though, a little more, I don't know, a little more younger, youthful. So it's got a bit more pace potentially to grow out of it. Meanwhile, that's a bit of lag for Skuld, I'm seeing. That can't be good.
Well, that's never a good sign for anyone, but yeah, out front, Dean will be relieved by that battle. It's made him basically consolidate his lead on that lap. Ethan was still faster despite the battle, so even if it clear air, let's see what the lap times are this time through. Let's just check Dean's fuel again, 20 litres, so that'll get him another 3 laps. It's about 7 litres per lap, I think it is. I know, yeah, so he'll do this lap, the next one and the one after that, and then he will have to pit, so yeah, then we'll see where he comes out and what his strategy is.
This could be troublesome times. Wolf's made a mistake there. They've got a bit wide through Terra Rouge, and down they come past the massive long straight. They can see Lamar down there, and there are some Dutch flags as well. I don't know why there's some Dutch flags, but there is. Meanwhile, Wolf's going to try and get in the turn. You can see, look how dry it's got down here. I don't know if it's dry like that in Rule, how dry that is indicating, but now you can see the puddle starting to form here, but it's definitely drying down the Mulsanne. Wolf here trying to close up on Skuld right now, and if I was Skuld, I would let Wolf through to try and battle with Ethan and then trying to hold each other up. That could be a good choice.
Yeah, it could be a good tactic, but remember those two are teammates, so it's highly unlikely that they're going to run into each other. It could happen, obviously. It's frowned upon. And I'm just trying to keep it. I'm just keeping an eye on Gaz in the gap. She's still 15 seconds behind, but I can see his lights in the background. So he's a wily old fox as well, and we'll see if he can come into the battle as well. But let's have a look at Dean. We haven't looked at him for a while to see how he's getting on. He's just in a no-win situation, really. He's damned if he does and damned if he doesn't. But I truly believe he has to pit for fuel, and he's going to have to go onto the slicks and just gamble it.
Yeah, he's
like
gonna
his name suggests, I suppose.
Yeah, like I mentioned earlier, he's gambling on a different condition. Well, he's gambling on one thing, that's not sliding. He's lost that bet as he spins the car nearly. 12 seconds right now. He's lost 2 seconds right now. They're all now starting to go into the 4-minute 10s. So it's about 3-minute 50. Oh, Skull's lost it. And he almost runs into Ethan that a lot later on the brakes there. I think Ethan must have broke very early because Skull got on the thing there. That could have almost ended badly here. Ethan, he must have made a mistake there because he was very slow through down towards the corner. A lot slower than the other cars.
Yeah, they've lost 5 seconds to Dean, so something's gone a little bit wrong, I would say, probably at the second chicane, because that's where the, again, the big puddles are forming. And look at Wolfie's attacking again now down the straight on Scold.
Trying to pressurise it.
Yeah, ran out of time before Indianapolis, so took the safe move, and that's what impresses me about Wolfie. Thinks about his overtakes, he doesn't just rush them.
Wide, again here, Skull's going to try and make a pull up the inside. I think he might be careful, doesn't pull back across of Dylan here, so Ethan doing good. Lewis in second there, that's his, he uses of course his actual name, but these three drivers absolutely good. Ethan weaving a little bit down the straight, of course, breaking out the puddle and breaking the toe a little bit there.
Yeah, and here comes Wolf again. He'll try and make a move before Porsche curves, but it's not advisable, I think. Nah, and like I've just said, he's too clever for that. He's been using his head all race, and he's gradually moved up to 4th place instead of sledgehammering his way through the field. He's taking his time. He came from quite far back, remember, as did Ethan, but Ethan managed to get penalties doing it. So Wolf again impressing me. I can tell you that much anyway.
Free karting they go.
Still with a big lead.
You got to also. I've noticed as well, if I'm not mistaken, giant puddles do form down at karting as well. That little left corner. So, man, that's another corner. They're gonna go and watch out for. Wolf runs right, quite obviously to miss those puddles, I think, as well.
Yeah, just any tactic you can do, any line, anything that works really, just so you can stay on the track and weather like this. And yeah, Skolder won a podium out of this. He deserves it definitely. But yeah, they did take a bit of time out of Dean in the end, so they must have recovered it in the final sectors. But Wolf 4 minutes 8.9 against Dean's 4:10, so that's another 2 seconds out.
It's getting dry.
Interesting to see what Gaz does. 4:09 as well. Yeah, I could see him coming closer in the background. But yeah, Dean just doing enough at the moment.
Track drying bit by bit. How much fuel has the leader got? We're what, 6 laps to go? He's not going to make it.
No, he's got 2 laps of fuel left. It's 7 per lap, so he'd have had about 14 as he crossed the line. So, yeah, he'll either pit this lap or probably the next one.
And they'd gamble on the dry tyres, and they'd gamble on him closing like a rocket. But how much speed?
Yeah, either that or if he just puts the fuel in even. And we know the wet, it's such a close call between fitting the dries and being fast in sector 1 and 3, where it does dry pretty quickly, or keeping with the wets where you can just use them in the first sector. You know, it's not too much of a disadvantage to have the wets, and then use them in sector 2 where it's going to pretty much stay flooded till the end of the race, I would say. So it's a bit of a trade-off. It's a close call. I know the drivers are talking about it, and it depends who you ask that who was fitting what tyres. It was 50-50, I'll pretty much guess from looking at it.
Meanwhile, look at the battle for 2nd, 3rd and 4th, by the way. They're all still going at it. Down the straight, and Ethan and Wolf getting arguably closer. Here comes Wolfler. He's got a massive run this time. Here comes Skull. Lewis is under pressure. Here comes Dylan around the outside, then down towards the Michelin chicane. Lewis will break late. Can he get the car stopped though? He's going to tap the side of the car. Yes, he does as he goes spinning. No, he doesn't. So Lewis just gets away with it there. Dylan through up till now P3 then in this race. Good job for him then. Now can he capitalise and try and close with his teammates? But look at the puddles starting to form down this straight now as it dries.
Yeah, I'll stay on board and we'll see if we can pick it up on the camera. The massive puddles down at Mulsanne, it's almost like a skating rink. You kind of got to break before them and then just drift through them, and let's see if we can see it. There's the load there. Then it's massive one here, and you can barely stop the car. You can see Wolf struggling to stop.
Yeah,
so it's cold. And then there's more on the exit here. Let's see if we can pick them up. And there you go. The car's drifting, and there's another one there, and then finally you can get on the power. Papano in again.
Now, is that for damage or is that for dries? I'm presuming. Hard to say, but it might be damage. Doesn't look like it's pulling too much. Or is it for a dry tyres, I'm wondering? An audacious, and probably rather risky, unless it is for damage. We'll see how long it is.
It's wets he's putting on.
Another set of wet steps. Is he bumped for his tyres, I'm wondering? Putting more fuel in the car. Would have made the end, but nonetheless, back to the lead. It's about 8 tenths, well, second and third. It's about 8 tenths gap between these three drivers. Great battling between them. Meanwhile, further down the field, we will have a run for it. So got a lead from Ethan. Dylan in third, from Lewis in fourth then. Gaza from Big Kid Daniel then. And then comes Cab. Clark in eighth. Rosberg in ninth. Rob in 10th. Vector 11th. Kulvip 12th. Free is in 13th. And Papano is in 14th place.
Here's Pren. Remember, he had a pit for damage, so he's a long way back. Sean and his debut in 12th, like you mentioned. Vectro's moved up a couple since last we saw. Rob's moved back a couple. Jan actually did pass him a few laps ago. I meant to say that, and Jan's moved on to the back of Clark now as well. So slowly but surely, Jan's Sprig just managed to get some sort of result out of this race. Nearly didn't make the race actually, and but just about managed to get itself together in the last hour or two before the race. But Clark, yeah, we know he had a bit of a collision at that chicane earlier in the race with Gaz and a few others. So yeah, Cam just in front of them. So yeah, plenty for Rosberg to chase anyway.
Yeah, of course, they're driving their heart out right now with what, 6 and a bit laps to go, 5 laps to go for your leader, and he's going to have to come in this lap, your leader, because he's probably got about 6 litres, and he's leaving that late, very late. Is he going to make?
Yeah, he'll make it just. Yeah, he'll make it round just, but then his decision whether he puts slicks on or he gambles and keeps these wets on. I feel like he's kind of got nothing to lose now and might as well go with the soft slicks and try and gain it all back on with those tyres. But like I say, Sector 2 is going to stay wet for the rest of this race.
Meanwhile, Ethan's trying to run away from his teammate, and Wolf's going to try to stick with him. So this could, and we'll have a look at your penalties, well, I'll keep an update on that if we can right now, bring it up. And we'll have a quick check of who's got the penalties. 15 still for your leader. Well, for second at least, which will be the leader once the leader comes in. So it's not looking good.
Vector on 8, and has Papano managed to get her to 40 yet? No, 33. Disappointing.
Yep, he's still got another 24 and a bit seconds to go before he gets up to Skull's ultimate penalty of 58.
Yeah, I'm sure that's not a record Skull really wants. Is that someone crawling behind, or is that just... No, that's Skull, that's fine. But there's a car off to the right hand side, but no, he's okay. He's trying to go on the wet lines by the looks of it, trying to keep his tyres in. Quite clever thinking from Skull. But he shouldn't have to do that in Sector 2 because it's pretty much like a bath.
Yeah, it's a very wet bath, of course, because baths are meant to have water in them, and this one, of course, not very good at keeping the water in, I must say, because it's dry and drain out, but I suppose baths do that over a time period if you left it there.
Yeah, good on the brakes from Rosberg, so let's see if he can get a run out of this chicane, and then it looks like he could probably mug Clark down into this second chicane. There's a yellow flag.
That's Vectro, I'm wondering. Or is it Camo? Camo, he's lost a rear wing. Now, what has happened there? Now, that's down before he's got to... That's a retirement. He's going to be a retirement. Now, where's that? He's lost that at Tet Rutan, hasn't he? There's no other place he's lost that. Is he gone on drives, I think? He must have pitted. Is he pitted for drives or something? As well? Well, he's going to have to retire because that's dangerous to be with no rear wing on a wet track. So I think that must be a retirement for him, I'm sure.
I don't think he's pitted for drives because he would have been a long way behind Jan, but going through the chicane.
Second and third, closing right up on each other. Again,
my suspicion is that he's lost it out of Tet Rouge and gone into the barrier on the inside, and then obviously we've caught up with him struggling down the straight, but that would be my suspicion.
And that is the last thing that Cameron wants. That's rather ruined his race. Good for everyone behind him, Rose. So they're going to pick up a position. So Vetro's going to get into the top 10, though, as long as he doesn't make a mistake either. But he is under pressure from Cool Vip as well, who's right behind him as well, about 2 and a bit seconds. But we're keeping an eye on the battle between the two teammates. Wolf versus Ethan. Wolf will lock up there, and you can see how dry it is. Now, leader, is he in the pit lane? How much fuel has he got? He's probably got about 2 litres left, I'm wondering.
Yeah, I hope he's pitted because he's going up to the pits now, and he will pit because he's 1 litre left actually.
Yeah,
so
see.
yeah, just about called that right.
Just about going to pit. So I've seen cars fail to stop then, as and run out of fuel. Luckily for him, he's going to just about get away with it. Down he comes. Lag spike indicates he's in the pit lane. In fact, 7 litre in the tank, so he's just made it.
Yeah, really important this is to see what he does. Does he just go for fuel? Does he put the slicks on and gamble? This is a crucial part of the race now.
Dries. It is slicks.
Looks like wet's in the hand of that mechanic, but maybe
like
my screen's showing something slightly different.
Yeah, maybe slightly different. Showing slicks for me, so nonetheless. Up front though, we'll keep an eye on that one. It's 5 temps, 4 temps to gap. If we can, Ben, if we can have a look at the leader. Because here they come. Wolf versus Ethan. And Ethan knows, probably now more than anything right now, that Wolf very much is in the position right now to win this race. Unless he makes a mistake and Ethan's going to try and force it. And Wolf's going to come for him then. Thinks about up the inside. Ethan's been struggling here all race long. He's not been comfortable. And Wolf, who is rather good in these conditions, he fancies a wet drive, now has an opportunity to win for the first time a race in AOR Elite Tier, and he has all he needs to do is not make a mistake, and remember, Scold not too far back. If these two take each other off or do something silly, Wolf and Ethan, Scold is sitting there with a comfortable view. And this is going to be worrying for these two Mercedes. They are pulling away, but crucially, and Ethan's made a mistake. He's let him through as he's gone on the curb. Now, this is what Wolf needs. He needs to run. Ethan's going to pull in the slips with that finger on the curb slightly there, and that is crucial.
Yeah, so Dean came out 5th, by the way. Let's just see. I'm pretty sure he only added fuel. I'm going to say that. These guys, by the way, I'm doing the maths. I'm not very good at maths, but I'll give it a go. They're going to be very close on fuel. I think they're a little bit short on fuel.
Let's see, 28 for Wolf. Ethan's going to be at about 25. No, he's around 30, so, oh, versus, so 2 leaders between. Look at the puddles there. This is what I was talking. Camero's gone, so he is done and dusted, and he's going to get a rep mod for that, I'm afraid. Can't leave the session. And, Stewards will probably have a look at that one, unfortunately, there for him, but nonetheless, Ethan, small mistake, and I think right now, Wolf kind of needs to save the fuel a little bit. So, really, look at the puddles there. You could just see, oh, he stopped. He's not going to get it stopped. Or he just about is. And look back. So, Scold, got about 35 litres, 37. He's in a really good position if these two guys ahead need to stop.
Yeah, I think Scold's safe on fuel, but I really don't think that the guys at the front have got quite enough. What about Gaz? Gaz is safe as well. So, these two have done their maths. And these two are knocking lumps out of each other and probably not thinking about that right now. But if Ethan's clever, he'll just hang in the slipstream with his teammates, save a bit of fuel, which he seems to have because he's got 3 litres more. So Dean might actually win this after all.
Yeah, well, who knows? Well, they both off the road there. Scold right now on the job right now. Gaz Gunner, 37 seconds off the road. And here you can see the two teammates. They're not going to make it till the end of this race. Well, they've got six laps and they've not got enough fuel. And I'm wondering, is a friend in the pit lane, I'm presuming for slicks.
Yeah, it's just more damage.
Yeah, well, maybe slicks and damage as well, as he's going to run over his pit crew if he's not careful. And that is slick tyres I'm seeing going on the car as well.
Yeah, I agree with you this time. But, yeah, Wolf, maybe they're starting to think about that. I'm not sure if Ethan can hear us, but he'll transfer the message if possible, if he does hear us saying that, because we can figure it out. Those guys aren't thinking about that right now. And I'm pretty sure they're a lap short.
They might just be a lap short. Ethan might just be on the bubble. We'll see. I mean, if they don't come in the pit lane over the next, like, 2, 3, maybe further, if they're going to really want to win this race, they need to come in the pit lane within the next 4 laps. Otherwise, they're going to have no chance of winning this. So they've got to come in ASAP. Scold is going to go to the end. He's safe. Behind them as well, we should see Gaza just about coming through the last corner. And there he is, and there's Scott ahead. And then there's a big gap of 20 seconds to Gunner. So it's going to be close. And the leaders, Wolf leads for the first time fully.
You just get this feeling now they're starting to work together, don't you?
Yeah.
They're like not really all over each other. Though Ethan's having a little look now, but it was all a bit calmer through Porsche curves and things like that. Gaz though is the one. He's starting to creep into this. You know, it's not over. He's
Oh, Wolf's wide. Got away with it. And yeah, he's creeping in. And you've got to wonder right now if Ethan has that penalty. Is Ethan just going to sit back a little bit? Doesn't want to fight it too hard and make contact?
Yeah. Gaz taking 5 seconds out of Scold on the last lap. So
wow. Do you know Hazard going to play it safe and not even take a shot? Well, never mind then. There's a Wolf lets Ethan through. Got a bad exit there and lets Ethan back through. So
that looked too easy to me. It was almost like I'll go in front and you slipstream me and save a bit of fuel.
Yeah. And if you're for Dylan right now, you could do it in the MFD. Ethan goes off. And struggling again. He's struggling on the brakes this race. And you got to wonder if you're a Wolf. There's the option. You could turn the engine map down and save a lot of fuel. You can save about a litre or two a lap almost if you put it down to lower end fuel mix. So you've got to wonder, is it worth doing that right now? They're using more fuel right now, battling and doing this.
Yeah, I think they're so short on fuel that I don't think it matters now, and they're trying this little slipstream thing. I've picked up on it, and they'll probably switch it around again, probably either on the next lap or maybe on another straight coming up. It'll be pretty obvious because they're going storming past each other, but I think they're trying that. But Scold is starting to edge back towards them because he doesn't need to save fuel, and Gaz is rocketing up towards them because he doesn't have to save fuel either. So
yeah,
I think they've realised.
What, 7 seconds quicker nearly? About 5 seconds quicker than Skull. Gaza in good position right now. As long as he doesn't make a mistake, none of these drivers need to do mistakes. Like, there's Ethan getting on the curb. Wolf almost spins again, so that curb proving it difficult. And we're keeping an eye right now. There's Skull. He's closing right up on these guys. And this last lap was bad, but he's got about 6-7 second lead to Gaza. Yeah, about 7 seconds. Gaza just doing his job right now, and he could be in charge. And Gaza hasn't got a penalty, remember. We'll have a little check, by the way, on your penalty situation.
Ethan's out of it.
Yeah, Ethan's very much out of this, of course, unless disaster strikes. But he is just within 15 seconds. Now he's not. So even if Gaza would need a spin or some problems for him as well to be dropping back. But right now, top two. Doing a good job. They're 1.4 separated. Meanwhile, battle potentially brewing. Not really brewing down the field. It's rather spread out right now, actually. So, real battle right now is first, second, third, and fourth for all essence.
Be interesting to see the lap times this time through, though. But I think, well, Ethan, we know he's pretty much out of this with the penalty. Kind of got to remember that. But he can help his teammate win if he just drags him around. But Scold, we thought he was sort of gaining, but he's not really at the moment now. Let's see how Gaz does through this final sector, but I'm pretty sure he's the man on the mission right now. He can sense it, I'm sure, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's 2 or 3 seconds faster on this lap, and that'll only get faster as those guys realise that they're running out of fuel. They'll either try to fuel save or will have to pit.
Yeah, of course, remember though, Scott doesn't, so there's one car off in the pit lane there. That's Pren, is that, I sense?
Yeah, it's Pren making his 5th stop again, I would say.
Another damage, I'm wondering. So the McLaren going for battle was doing Jensen Button in 2011 Canada, but not winning. Unless, of course, something simply catastrophic happens, but I fear not. Ethan's pulling quite quickly away right now, 4 minutes 6, so Ethan's suddenly pulling away. I think he's trying to go for it. Let's see, Gaz is going to probably set a 4 minutes 7, yeah, so still quicker than Skull. Skull in the 4 minute 10, so Ethan 4 seconds a lap quicker right now. But well, he's got about how much fuel has he got? About 16 litres.
Yeah, he's going to start. Maybe he's just thought, you know what? I'm not going to win anything by just saving fuel. I might as well just go for it. And yeah, he's just cautious to win. Dean, 4 minutes 3, easily the fastest man on the track. What does Jan do? He's quite quick as well in these conditions. Let's see with what's left of his Porsche.
4 minutes 7,
so yeah,
dead.
He's up there as well.
Yeah, 4 minutes 7 exactly. I like when they do that, but there's Ethan. Now 18 litres, 7 a lap. He's not going to make it.
No.
He'll run that short. Wolf will be very much less than that. He's on probably about 13, 14 litres. 15 then, so he's not going to make it either. Meaning, really, all Skull needs to do right now is stay 2 seconds ahead of Gaza, and he potentially could win this race. And that would be the most shocking result, I think, in history.
Yeah, I mean, no one... we almost laughed, let's face it. We almost laughed when they turned up to Donington in 2 Hondas. We were just like, okay, that's for comedy value only, but they proved us, well, Scold especially, has proved us wrong in the last 2 races. He's been battling for podiums in both of them. Podium last time out. I feel that was earned because he was up there at the time of the disconnect, so to me that was a well-earned podium. So I'm quite sceptical about that, but not in my eyes. Scold in third again today, backing it up. Yeah, Gaz thundering up to a lot of them, and you can see the rear lights now of Scold.
Yeah, it's about 6-7 seconds, is it there? Again, it's pretty even still between them. It's about 6 seconds, so it's remained consistent there, that 6 seconds though, Ben. So it's not dropping, but it's not going up. This is what Wolf, what Skull needs, because at 6 seconds, come down by a second. He needs it not to go under 2, mind. So he needs to get a move on a little bit right now. But Gaza, right now, as long as he doesn't make a mistake, is on course for a podium at least, if not a win.
Yeah, Wolf's saving fuel. Sorry, but Wolf is definitely saving fuel now. He's losing so much time to Scold. I should have checked his top speed, but he's definitely dropping back like a stone now.
Yeah, you can see he's not using full throttle. He's gone into low fuel mode. Ethan also now low fuel mode, but they're not going to make it nonetheless.
Nah, doesn't look like it. Be interesting to see what they do this lap. Ethan, like I say, he's just dropped the hammer and thought, you know what, I'm not going to... Oh, actually, what's he doing now?
Yeah,
he looks like he's losing a lot of time.
Yeah, he's not got full throttle, and what they've done, they put it into lean mix. That's what they've done, Ben. They've gone into lean mix, so you can see the revs that go up to about the 7 mark. So that is what I mentioned earlier on. They're going to lower the fuel mix right at the end of this race. Wolf will not make it though. It's still going to be about 7-6 litres a lap. Right now, look at third position. Look, he's only 5 seconds, and look, he was about 5 seconds off of Wolf earlier on. Now he's only 2. He's waltzing up to these guys, and he can go as quick as he wants right now because he's got over 2.5 laps of fuel, and that Honda doesn't use it as much as the Mercedes behind them. The gap is 5 and 6 seconds. It's closing up.
There's Gaz as well. This isn't over. Gaz is the one that I think could do this. You know, he hasn't got any penalties. These guys have realised what we called a couple laps back, because Ethan's dropped 4 seconds on his lap time. Wolf's dropped about 6 seconds on his lap times. Skull's moving in. I don't know why that lap time says 4:13, because that's not correct. He's caught about 3-4 seconds on Wolf. So
he's gone off.
And that's probably why.
And that's probably why he's catching up, because he's getting validations, and that's not what he wants. He'll have to lift off. They're gonna gamble. 4:02. It's dry. It's completely dry out there, you know. And these guys on these wet tyres, I want to know how warm they really are, but they're going to be not very healthy, I'm wondering.
This is awesome. Gaz is catching the leaders. Dean Gunner is catching the lot of them. And we have 2 laps to go on a long track. But Gaz, for me, is the man in the driving seat. He's taken, 6 seconds, 5 seconds, and 3 seconds out of the front lot. But we know Ethan isn't going to make it. So,
right, though.
And here we go.
Here we go then. So here comes the Honda. Then, so a limping and ailing Mercedes made easy work then by the Honda around the outside. Wolf goes off then. He couldn't make the corner. He was forced to go wide then through the chicane. Locks up. And now look behind. Now here comes Gaza. Now Wolf could theoretically try and back Gaza up as best he can then.
Yeah, he'll have a job on a straight like this, and we know he's fuel saving. So, yeah, I think Wolf turned his engine up a little bit there to try and battle Skull on the straight, but it's completely pointless because we know Skull can make it on fuel, and Ethan's his next target. It's between Skull, Gaz, and Dean, but I think Dean's too far back, even despite his pace. I think Gaz is the one that could win this.
Yeah, well, let's see. Well, Skull's got over 2.5 seconds. He's got 4 seconds right now. And we'll have a little look. Can we get the penalties up again if we can and see what are the penalty situations? Wow, no, 4. That isn't good. That is the last thing Skull needs now. He was relying on Gaza to get a penalty. He has Gaza needs a penalty right now if Skull wants to win this race in a Honda.
I think Gaza's too clever to get penalties. He drove a clean race last time out. He didn't get too many at Imola when everyone basically got penalties except for Rosberg. Gaz is he's using his head and he's on the back of Wolf.
Yeah, Wolf and ailing Mercedes right now. He's going to be passed very easily. I'm wondering. He's probably being urged on. Hold him up the best you can. And he's not going to do it. He's going to let him through. And that is a death wish for Lewis then, and a death wish for Ethan. So Gaz up, unless he makes a mistake, he's going to win this race. Surely.
You would have to say so.
Ethan should make it. Just.
Yeah, it's going to be touch and go out. I was driving the Mercedes and I needed just about 7 litres for the lap. So he needs to use less than 1.4 in the whole of the final sector, and that's going to be touch and go. So we'll watch it, but he's going to have to literally put it in lean for the whole of the last lap to make it. I'm pretty sure, but he's already down to 8. We're not even at the Porsche curves yet. So he'll cross the line with about 6.5, I would have thought, and then he's literally going to have to fuel save. So Scold should pass him.
No throttle at all.
No. He's doing what he can, but he needs 7 for the final lap, so it's just, you might be right, Evil. He's nearly there now.
He's
good. If he gets the line on 7, he could run at least normal revs, and then he could maybe turn it up to the last part. I don't know, but 7.3 now. He's pitting. He's not risking it.
No, he's bowed out then. So Scold, all he needs to do right now is try and open up. And Wolf's in as well, so they both realise they're not going to make it. So what is the gap? 3.6 seconds. Can Scold do something unthinkable? Is Scold on the bubble of 4 seconds? If Gaz makes a small mistake, a single mistake in this race, now Scold is going to win it, but it's 3 seconds. It's closing up. I don't think he's going to do it. Surely not, but if he does, Dylan's left the party there. He is disconnected, or he's not happy. He's frustrated with that one. He's dropped outside of the podium, the pair of them there.
Yeah, I think
a shock.
Dean spun somewhere because he's lost a lot of time. 10 seconds there on, well, according to this, but I'm not convinced by these lap times being put up here, because 4:13 and he's still 15 seconds behind. He was 20 before, so he's more likely to be like a 4:03. But let's see where these guys come out. And Ethan's come out just in front of Pren, so well, we know Pren's a few laps down. So 4th. Wolf comes out in 6th behind Jan, so good news for Jan in his championship. Scold, though, he hasn't really got much of a hope against Gaz, like you say, unless he spins, because Gaz A has the power and B doesn't have any penalties.
Yeah, you got to feel for Scold right now, but nonetheless, I have to feel for Scold right now. He's leading in a Honda. You'll never hear that again. I fear the Mon. I'm just lost for words and awe and shock, I must just say right now. Can Gazem just make a mistake? It's not often I want him to make a mistake, but if he does make a mistake, this is probably the only time to do it. He's not going to do it, but Gaza on course for victory here at the Mon. And he's done a beautiful job nonetheless. He's closed up on the leader, and with the penalties he's going to get through nonetheless. A beautiful drive from Skull, but a better drive, I must say, because he's kept it clean from Gaz.
Yeah, Gaz is again proven why I backed him at the start of the season. Normally that's a kiss of death for any driver. This is the only bit that Gaz needs to negotiate, but he's been good through there all day. And he is good. Oh, sideways out there. Like I said, you can see them now. Look, the puddles across the road. There's about 5 of them. But Gaz will want to win on the road. Trust me, this isn't over. He'll close up towards Indianapolis and try to get past Skull down on the way to the Porsche curves. But I'm sure he knows, and it's normally put there on for the drivers that the penalties of the other drivers. I'm sure he knows that Skull's got these penalties, and he'll just use his head and sit there.
Well, right now Skull just keeping it nice in courses right now. He probably knows more than anything else not to make a mistake. He's on wet tyres. Guys are presumably on fresher tyres. He's flashing his lights. He's frustrated. He's got an issue potentially. He's just going slower.
Oh, it's wide.
Yeah, he's struggling. And right to the end of this race, and nonetheless, though, it's been an absolutely sensational drive throughout this race. You got to say, like, without the penalty, and as long as he doesn't crash right at the end, this has been a brilliant, fantastic drive, right to the death. He's raw tyres, he's got no grip, but in a Honda, where no one thought he could possibly get a podium, or even near the front, he comes through the last couple of corners right now. He might not even win it on track, but he's won it in the hearts of the people. A Honda, oh yes, you're hearing me, a Honda is gonna come down to the last chicane then, the Ford chicanes, to win on track. And I cannot believe my eyes. Never will I ever see anything like this again. Skull through the chicane and will win on circuit. No, he won't win on circuit, he's led him through, but Skull will win the hearts of the people, but Gaz wins here in the Mon. And what can you say about that one? What a drive from a Honda. Kept out of problems, kept the fuel, the crucial black goo in the car that you need. He just drove his heart out. Ethan's going to finish 4th in the end. He's going to finish ahead of Rosberg, so the championship remains open. But what a drive.
Yeah, for the championship, actually, that's really good for Gaz, because Gaz was leading it coming in here with a little gap, and that's just going to consolidate his lead. So, yeah, a massive win for Gaz. Drove an exceptional race. Remember how far back he was at the start. He was like 20 seconds back and 30 seconds off those guys after he pitted for wets. That's just an incredible race. Normally these 1.5 hour races can be quite hard to commentate on, but that was amazing from start to finish as Wolf goes celebrating.
Yeah, well, you've got to say, Loris, everyone's died. I mean, there's only... I mean, if there was a driver of the day, I think there is only one driver of this day.
Yeah, Scold, probably. That's probably what's in your mind.
Scold, without doubt. I have never... I mean, to be fair, the Mercedes, he ran out of fuel, but you know... Still, despite that, Scold, he drove his heart out, and we'll love to hear from the drivers in a few moments. I should probably unmute them as well and talk to the drivers, but that was such a race.
Pretty awesome season from start to finish. Everything we thought might happen hasn't happened.
And yeah,
just get unusual winners.
Well, to the man
I'm not complaining, you're the one
of the hour, and hello to Scold.
Hello, boys.
Hello, Scold, if you can hear me.
Hello.
What a race for you.
I know.
Like, an absolutely sensational drive from you, Lewis. How did you find it out there?
Bloody fun. It's just a shame I got the penalty, but it's kind of my fault.
Yeah, I made a few mistakes, but managed to save the fuel, managed to drive your heart out in that race, and just really one of those drives that you don't often see. I mean, how did you find it generally in terms of the wet conditions? You were really quick.
I enjoy it. I enjoy the wet. It's really fun around here. It's just Mulsanne's a bit of an ice rink.
Indeed, and if your teammate is here, Vectro, if you're here, potentially.
Hello. Yeah, first of all, massive congratulations to Scott and everyone who finished on the podium. How did you pull it out of the bag? But yeah, I just, on my race, there's nothing to comment, I think. Just, yeah. No ups and downs, just only downs. It's, well, just one of those races.
Indeed, struggled in the grip, of course. Caught up almost, I think, of that start crash, Vector, I think, were you not?
No, start crash I think happened behind me. I saw a big pile-up on the map, but I was not involved in that.
Indeed, and well, from you two to probably the unluckiest man I commentate cars every race, it is Ethan. I've done it again with the penalties, but ran out of fuel there in the end. What happened out there?
The game did not calculate fuel correctly. I put in 10 litres more than I needed to, and still that wasn't enough, and my fuel lap average went down to as little as 5 litres a lap, and I still had 3 litres extra to complete the final lap, but the game wasn't having any of it. I just don't understand how the game can cause such an issue like that. It's demoralising, to be honest, because I really felt I had the potential to win that race, and my pace certainly suggested it, being the only person to do a sub 4 minute lap. But if anybody this race is not about me, and I don't want this interview to be about me. If anything, I want to just give my condolences to my teammate, because he was the person who deserved to win that race. He put his heart out into this, practiced every single lap with me, and he did his best, and he was still robbed of a potential win. If I'm honest, I think a few people got lucky, especially the Acura. That car should not have finished up there, and it was just by pure luck it finished up there.
No, I think it was pure skill personally from Scold. It was very, very good driving.
Yeah, I'm not criticising a driver's skill here, but considering the fact that I got a penalty due to wheel spin out of my pit box, which I don't understand how the game could give me a pit lane speed penalty for coming out of a pit box and just running out of fuel, but I think mine and Dylan's pace was a potential for a 1-2, and I think, based on my opinion, it was incredibly lucky by some drivers again this race, because that was not that's just my opinion. Some people may disagree, and people are more than willing to disagree, but I think it was just luck sometimes, you know, and that's how racing is. Sometimes you just get lucky, and some people just get really unlucky.
I'd like to disagree, because Scold's been up there in the last 2 races now, and with the wet conditions, and showing some really impressive pace and not actually collecting as many penalties. Is there anything you can do about stopping these penalties that you seem to be accumulating each race? It seems to be your bugbear.
It's not my issue, because I lift off and I still lose time, and and I shouldn't have picked up a 10-second penalty for wheel spinning out of a pit box. It's only because when you wheel spin, the pit lane speed limiter can't keep the speed down below 37 miles per hour. So it's not my issue, it's the game. I may get it resolved, but it's down to me. But penalties are penalties. The game bases its penalties off a dry circuit and not in the wet. It's so many factors you can consider being a driver. But yeah, mixed feelings, but that's racing. You just gotta live with it and just gotta do better. I mean, me and Dylan are gonna go away with this race with our heads held up high, because we knew we had the potential to finish 1-2 here.
Well, back to you, Lewis. Low. I mean, you've got to feel bittersweet, Low. I mean, despite the penalty, you were flying on a circuit where a Honda would have never been in normal circumstances. You drove that car. I mean, we've seen Max Verstappen drive out of a car, but I mean, you have driven out of the universe of your drive, and I've got to say, in my opinion, the most deserved driver of the day, as well as Wolf, probably both of you deserve a driver of the day, but I mean, a shock. I'm in shock of the result, and
Thank you,
all I can say is congratulations to all of you drivers, as well as Dylan. I'd love to speak to him, but I fear he's a bit
he went away upset. I would like to say to Lewis, despite my mixed feelings, I cannot stress you are a master of the wet.
Thank you, and I would like to say that
you are a master. You are a master in the wet.
You did deserve a 1-2.
Yeah, it's heat to the moment, and what I say is consistent, but I just cannot stress it enough to you, Lewis. I do not mean any criticism to you, and I don't want you to get the wrong idea, but you drove your heart out, and all of us did. All of us drove our hearts out, and that's what we're here to do. It's what we're here to do.
Well, on that bombshell, it's time to end. Thank you very much for joining us. Join us next week where we're at another beautiful circuit in the universe of the world. Until then, I've been Evil. It is Zuhai. And Ben has been Ben. This has been Apex Online Racing. Thank you very much for joining us. Take care. Goodbye.